So I think what I'm going to do is just carefully work around the bird in this instance, because I don't want to mess up that masking that I already done. And what I'm going to do before I even paint is prepare my palette. So I'm going to move my palette over here. Zoom out a little bit so you can see what the heck I'm doing. And I think I'm going to use like some greens and some burnt sienna in the background, just a little bit of burnt sienna. And Kitty, sorry, my cat is just out of control, affectionate here. I'm going to get some greens wet. I'm going to get some different greens wet, so I'm going to use this brush with a lot of water and get a bunch of water in there and scrub it around and then squeeze it out into that hole there. And then I'm going to use a few different color greens just so I have some variety. And what you can do if you don't have a bunch of different greens is just wet your blue, your yellow, your blues and your yellows. And if you have a green, that would be good. And then add more blue to your green, add more yellow to your green, and then that'll make a bunch of different shades too. It's just as good. Sometimes it's even better because then it kind of all goes together better. I'm going to wet my blue and squeeze that out, and I'm squeezing the water out of this brush into the well so that I have some wet paint. And then I'm going to take this brush, it's kind of a scrubber that I like to use, and I'm just going to kind of loosen up the paint even more so that I have more pigment in the water in each of these wells. You don't have to work this way. I mean, there's 10 zillion different ways to work a palette, but I just thought I'd show you kind of what I do. And you can kind of experiment around and you might figure out a better way than what I've got here. But this is kind of what I do to prepare my palette when I'm going to do a background wash, because I just like to have all the colors there ready to go. I'm going to wet some yellow too, I think, because I can drop some yellows into that background. And it, like I said, the more colors, of course the colors need to go together somewhat in a wash that you drop in together like what we're going to do. But the more colors, the more interest, and the more beautiful it comes out, usually. If you pick the right colors to go together. That's another experiment you're going to need to be doing, is use your different paints that you have and see what colors go with what and what mixes well with what, and sometimes you'll be surprised. Like this Windsor orange I have mixes beautifully with my ultramarine to make this wonderful purple. So who knew that orange and blue would make such a beautiful purple, but it does. It's really pretty. Okay, so I've got everything wetted down, so that's all ready. So now I'm going to go back to my painting here, and what I'm going to do is take my brush. It's a nice wet absorbent brush, this Alvaro Castagnet brush. This is an expensive brush, and it's on my list, my supply list. You don't have to buy this. There's a lot of other brushes you could use. You could use something like this. This has squirrel hair in it too. Or you can use a synthetic like this, or a bigger brush, something like this.